family and friends. This is Dr. Angel Cartagena with this week's edition of Tuesday Tips. As you know, for some time now, I have been coming on every Tuesday with a tip that has to do with either couples that are thinking about getting married or plan to get married, tips for people who are married and are struggling, and of course, tips for people who are struggling with the journey of divorce. And today I want to talk about those couples who are thinking about getting married. Today I want to specifically talk about one of the myths of marriage. There's so many different myths that people carry with them about marriage and what marriage is about. And this myth is here's the myth: we expect the same thing from marriage. That a husband and wife, that a man and a woman going into marriage assume that they both are expecting the same things out of marriage, don't talk about these things, and then all of a sudden when reality hits them, it's a whole different story. Now, how do they find out? How do they find out that they don't expect the same things in marriage? Well, there's usually two areas where couples find out, and that is number one, unspoken rules, and number two, unconscious roles. So let me explain those to you. Unspoken rules: a couple gets married, and they assume that they're going to think the same way and have the same thoughts about all sorts of issues, and all of a sudden their first Christmas comes up, and the wife approaches the husband and says, hey, listen, we need to make travel arrangements soon because Christmas is around the corner, and we're going to need to find flights and all that kind of stuff. But my parents said we can stay with them. And the husband's like, wait a minute. My mom lives alone. I'm not allowing her to spend Christmas all by herself. I don't understand why we can't spend Christmas with her. And all of a sudden they find out that they each assumed that they were going to be spending Christmas as they always had with their parents, and there was no discussion about how to handle this situation. And now you have a conflict. Now, of course, rational people, calm people being what they are, we can always work this out. Maybe mama might want to take a flight with you and go to visit her in-laws, perhaps. Not likely, though. If you know anything about dealing with elderly parents, they're very set in their ways. And she's like, I don't understand. I have this big house all to myself. You can all stay here. Why don't her parents come here? Except that she has siblings who also want to look. You get the point. It can be complicated. And so one of the things, believe it or not, you need to talk about before you get married is, how are you going to, handle things like holidays, right? And how are you going to, what decisions are you going to make in terms of, are you going to go to parents? Are you going to host people? That means, do you have a home where you can host people, or are people willing to stay at a hotel and just come together for meals and stuff like that? I know I have three sisters. When we were young, they were more than happy to all stay together in one apartment. I'm like, no, I got a room at the Hilton. Thank you very much. I love y'all, but when it comes time to sleep, I need to sleep. I don't want to hear nobody talking or walking around or playing dominoes or children waking me up in the middle of the night. No. So my thing is, here's another thing. There's no right or wrong answer to these. My thing is, you need to not assume that your future spouse is on board with the same program you are. So you need to talk about things like how you're going to handle holidays, how you're going to handle birthdays. Will you be entertaining a lot? All right, because for the spouse who's an extrovert, you love entertaining, you love having people, inviting people over to the house. But if you are married to an introvert, being around people drains them. And this is one where I particularly want to point out, brothers, don't be putting this on your wife, all right? You definitely don't want to force her to entertain. If that's not her thing, y'all need to talk about this. So that's unspoken rules is one of the ways that you find out that it is a myth to believe that both of you expect the same thing from marriage. Here's the other one: unconscious roles. You come into the marriage, and each of you saw a division of labor between mom and dad, and you assumed as you come into the relationship that that's how it's going to happen at your house. And I'm here to tell you, no, that's not how it happens. All right. That was actually one issue in my first marriage, is that I married a woman whose dad was a doctor, and he was, Mr. Fix-It. He was like, he could do things like change the oil on the car. It's what men do, right? And by the way, my dad did that kind of stuff. I had no interest in it. All right. You don't want me, let me tell you something. You don't want me touching the car. You do not want me doing anything to that car. All right. You want me to do a responsible thing, which is to take it to the mechanic, let him handle it. Here's the extent of my car repair skills. You ready? Here's my credit card. There you go. There it is. All right. So my thing is, if you go in assuming that you're going to take on certain roles and that your spouse is going to take on certain roles, that's just going to blow up in your face, because that doesn't always work out. And by the way, in this area, one of the things I really tell my younger couples is, do you. Like that, don't go with tradition. Don't listen to what relatives have to say. Don't do it. Just do you. Just be you, right? Like there are two families in our previous church in Maryland, right? Um, Now, the husbands are the ones who cook for the household. And there are women who tend to be tradition minded, and it's like, oh, that's terrible. The husband should be cooking, the wife should be doing it. Why, madam? The truth is that in both of these families, everybody acknowledges that the husband cooks better, even the wife. B, everybody in the family prefers to eat dad's cooking, and C, he enjoys doing it. So if that's the case, why shouldn't he cook for the family? If he enjoys doing it, he wants to do it. Stop telling. We had another couple in the church where, the wife was the one who would do all these sort of house repairs and remodeling and all that kind of stuff. She had skills that way. So why not? Listen. If it works for the couple, let them be. And if you're the couple listening to this, man, just do you. You know what I'm saying? If for example, my wife and I, we have adopted traditional roles, but we're older and we feel comfortable with that. And so she does all the cooking, which, by the way, she is a fantastic cook. I've got the stomach to prove it. And I do the stuff like taking out the trash, snow removal, all that kind of stuff I take care of. And so we've decided, but here's my thing. If either one of us wanted to do something else, neither one of us are going to trip on that. But here's my thing. As a couple planning to get married, you need to have discussions about this. You need to have discussions about, are you going to have pets? And if you're going to have pets, who's going to take care of the pets? Snow removal, taking out the trash, cooking, laundry. That's one of those areas. For example, my wife is like, you ain't touching the laundry, right? Here's another one that came up, right? So I've been used for years. I would take my shirts to a laundromat, the dry cleaners. Like I would have my shirts dry cleaned, right? Especially when I was a lawyer, because I wore suits all the time and ties, and you had to look clean. My wife, when I got married to Wendy, she was like, no, you're not taking your shirts to a dry cleaner. No, I'm not letting a dry cleaner do my man's shirts. She takes pride in taking care of my shirts. So who am I to say no, right? Like sometimes I feel for her because she's got a full plate of her own. We both work and we both do stuff around the house, but that's how she wants it. So anyway, long and short of it is, unspoken rules, unconscious roles are two of the ways that we know that the idea that we both expect the same thing out of marriage is a myth. And so my encouragement, and one of the reasons you should be going to pre-marriage counseling or pre-marriage coaching, is that you need to discuss all of these things. So, if you are interested in pre-marriage coaching, do not forget that I am a SYMBIS certified facilitator. SYMBIS is an acronym. It stands for Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. I'd be more than happy to work with you. Just go to my website at drangelcartagena.com. That's all one word, drangelcartagena.com. And just go to the contact section of the website. It'll send me a message telling me you're interested. We'll connect, and I would love to work with you. So anyway, God bless you. I hope this helps. And thank you for those of you who are willing to listen to this week's edition of Tuesday Tips. May the Lord bless you mightily.